Good afternoon and welcome to Oval. Only here at the ground this afternoon, and so it's very good to have you along on Bar TV. Morgan Campbell with you for Central versus Western Suburbs. Well, good afternoon here at the ground this afternoon, and so it's very good to have you along on Bar TV. Morgan Campbell with you for Central versus Western Suburbs in round 9 of the Newcastle Rugby League. We've had rain this afternoon, which is, well, I suppose gone from torrential to monsoonal at various times this afternoon, but all is in readiness for the kick-off. We've got one of the sides out on the field and the other is on their way, and I will take you through the sides as we start the game this afternoon. For Central, number 1, Tim Penny, number 2, Joe Woodbury, 3, Dale Clackerty, 4, Brett Jarrett, and 5, Brad Calder. The 5'8" is Riley Brown in the 6. There's no 7 in the side today. Danny Kerrs is scratching. The 8's Cody Brooks, 9 Tom McKenzie, 10 Rowan Kelly, 11 Dom Murphy, 12 Jacob McKendry, 13 Ethan Cook, 14 Brendan Menzies, 15 Dane Bamblett. I suspect what's going to happen is Dane Bamblett will play fullback and Tim Penny will play half, but time alone will tell. And then 17 Matt Baker, 18 Sam Burnstrom, and 20 Jerome Wilson. We see the central side heading out onto the field right now, led out by, of course, Rowan Kelly in his final season as captain coach. He announced that through the week. Now for Wests, number 1 Sam Keenan, 2 Callan Richardson, 3 Simon Williams, 4 Steve Gordon, 5 Willis Alatini, 6 Joel Brown, 7 Jade Porter, 8 Mark Tafua, 9 Chad Redmond, 10 Jake Finn. The back row 11 Peter Mannion, 12 Matt Herman and 13 Warren Shillings. And the bench 14 Ryan Petro, 15 Jermaine Ale, 16 Mark Farrer and 8 dummy half Chris Knight. And the referees Tom Aylett this afternoon, the linesman Dylan Clark and Greg Ryan. We're having the coin toss in the mud pile in the middle of the ground at the moment, and we're just about ready to go. It's a big game for both these sides. Wests on the back of 2 losses. They went 5 in a row to start the season after that game against Central in round 1 in conditions pretty similar to this at Harker Oval. But they lost against Cessnock up there, and they lost again at home against Lakes 3 weeks ago. So they probably needed the break. Central, well, they're on 3 points. They're second from bottom in the Newcastle Rugby League. They need to start winning, and winning soon. They had a big finish to last season, and if they're to make the finals this year, that's about what they need again. So they're well and truly the underdogs here today, but maybe the conditions just even things up. And we know what this St John Oval ground can be like. It's been a Bermuda Triangle for big teams in the past. So we will see what today holds. Tom Aylett has the whistle in his mouth, and we are away. It's the last game of round 9, Wests and Central at Dudley, and we're underway. And it's the big forwards who are going to start things off here for Central. They need to do their part in the middle of the ground today. So that looks like Dane Bamblett at dummy half, and he gets it away to Jerome Wilson, who's in the 20 and into the starting side today. Named on the bench, but starts the game. And they're working it away here in the first few tackles of the game. The West defence up brightly. And that was Brett Jarrett who took it forward. And now they come up with the 18. That's Sam Burnstrom into the team today. He was one of the TBAs named earlier in the week. Always gets a good run in the Newcastle Rugby League, TBA. And the first kick of the afternoon's away. It's not a baddie either in the conditions. It's going to skip over the touchline. And Sam Keenan wasn't particularly keen to get a touch. That's going to be a 40-20. It's a 40-20 in the first set of the game. So what an opportunity this is for Central. They're going to get a full set of tackles, 15 out. And in weather like this, that is priceless. So McKenzie has the ball. And he gives it away there to Burnstrom, who comes forward. And they've got options left and right here. They're going to go... They've cut out the Brad Myers lookalike Cody Brooks, and now it's Jerome Wilson. And he's twisting towards the line. And we've got a stoppage here. What's happened? I think they're going to say Jerome Wilson's got to go out the back. He might have some blood, I suppose. He's heading a long way away from his own line. So the trainer's going to patch him up, and play goes on. It's out the back here to Brown. And he turns it in there to McKendry, the former Cessnock player. McKenzie's in at dummy half again. Brown, away to Brooks. It's his first carry, and he's going to be very, very easy for the commentator to spot today. But they've got them sent out deep to the left here, Central, but they go to the right instead. And here's Cook. And Cook's stepping. And he's turning. He's not far away, Ethan Cook. He must have been half tempted to reach out there. Last tackle. And they go deep to Brown. And this one's to the air. They've got some numbers out here if they can keep it. McKendry does hold it. And they're going to get another set of tackles here. That was touched in flight. So this is a great start for Central if they can make something of it. And here's Brown. Away to Wilson, who's been patched up and able to take another carry. McKenzie has it. Over there to Brown. Brown's got numbers. He goes flat to Bamblett, who, if he caught it, probably would have scored. He put it on his chest, but it was a wet weather drop. Dame Bamblett into the centres today. And Wests, after 3 minutes of defending, are going to get their first use of the ball. I'll be happy enough with that. Giving up the 40-20 in the first set of the game. They held on well. And that was certainly the pattern when they played at Harker in round one. West gave Central a lot of ball, particularly in their second half. But Central weren't able to crack them, and in the end, 2-1, 8-4. In an absolute mud heap, probably worse than this, in fact. The drainage here's a little bit better. So West coming forward, and that'll be Jake Finn barrelling into them again. They've got to keep a hold on him if they're going to do anything today, Central, and they couldn't do it that time. And suddenly they're using it out here with Williams. And not for the first time today. We have an outside back slipping over. Now Brown and Shillings. Joel Brown in the 6 for West. Riley Brown in the 6 for Central. That'll be an easy one to remember. Now Tafua. Up to the halfway. They're looking for their first kick of the afternoon. It'll be Jade Porter. And it's just a field position game for him today. He smashes it down there to Woodbury. And Joe Woodbury gets to bring it back. Found himself out of favour at Cessnock. He wasn't in the first grade side regularly and decided to transfer to Central mid-year. And he's a good pickup for them. He was a regular in the Cessnock side last year. Has plenty of first grade experience. And on they come. That's Dale Clackerty. The back's doing the work for Central here. Now Brooks. Strong contact in there again. And away they come now to Brown. And they're looking for the wide ball early here. That's very brave in this weather. And Bamblett, one-on-one with Williams. He had Woodbury outside him. Thought better of the pass. Now McKendry. Out the back there to Brown, and he's just going to play the field position game himself. And hoof this down to Alatini, who retrieves. You get the sense on days like this, it's more mistakes than brilliance that are going to win you a game or lose you one. But Alatini didn't make one there. And so Richardson has it. And he's on a mazy run here. And a few tackle busts there from Simon Richardson. And away they come to Brown. Now Tafua. And both sides willing to use it out wide here. And Herman gets it away, and now here's Gordon. And Alatini's up down the wing. And you might not have expected too much of this today. Alatini advancing. Both sides using the full width of the field already. And they're going that way again with Porter. And now Herman, and oh dear. 9.4 degree of difficulty. The Benji Marshall flick out the back. And I think Greg Ryan was the only one with a chance of catching that one. And he didn't seem that interested. So Central will have a scrum. It might be a little concerning for them. West making good metres on the edges early here. So it's Cook who feeds the scrum. And Central coming away from their own territory. And there'll be a run out of dummy half. I think that's Penny getting involved. Now McKenzie back inside to Brooks. He's very eager to get involved, Cody Brooks. And that's a good carry. On the run out of dummy half. Doesn't yield too much. But Penny's in there now. And scheming. Cook. Almost like another half for this Central side. Very skillful player. And this time, he finds Burnstrom. And they stacked out to the right here, and Cook's going to put this into the sky. And this is very, very awkward indeed. Keenan and Richardson are coming, and neither of them had a prayer. But they're going to say a penalty here for inside the 10. And that's a pretty bad mistake in the end from Central, because that kick was awkward enough without needing to be offside. And so Keenan can jam this into the grandstand. And there's a bit of concern there. It was taken very nicely in the front row. And Mannion can come forward, and he's spilled it. And it's a knock on. Big contact from the Central boys. And there's a bit of hooting and hollering. McKendry and Woodbury very pleased with themselves. And some field position again. You suspect it's going to be that sort of day. Yeah, they look like they're cooking up something off this scrum. Cook is, no pun intended, Cook's the one doing all the directions. But it's Woodbury who gets the ball. Now Mackenzie's looking at a dummy half here. And he's going to go at himself. They only had one marker there, West. And Penny's in there now. And he'll line up Bernstrom, who's been very involved, but this time he knocks it on. Just losing the ball in the contact there. So West's off the hook and we start again. And I'd reckon scrum enthusiasts, of which there are many, will be very, very pleased with themselves today. They're going to get a feast of scrummage. So away come Wests, and it's with Brown and it's with Keenan. Pretty hard to execute a set play out there. Now Williams. At Redmond's busily talking in there at dummy half. He cuts out Finn, gives it to Mannion. Mannion threw a borderline pass to Shillings, who tried to throw another one. And I think Porter's going to fall on that in the middle of the field. And they got away with that just about there, West. So Herman. But they're willing to try things. Tafua. Interesting tackling technique there from Mackenzie, going in at the leg. Nearly had Tafua's full weight on top of him there as Porter sticks this one into the corner. And that's very professional indeed. And Penny will go back. And he's bumped. Big tackle. And Central have to bring it back, and that's the tempo so far. That's the pattern of the game. Bang it up the other end, make them bring it out. Hope they make a mistake. This is Ethan Cook. Now Brooks. And Bamblett's looking for a run. He's quick out of dummy half, and he got past one there. And Keenan's barking instructions from fullback. Look for the kicker. We've had one of those already today, they say. Here's Brown. And this is going a bit pear-shaped for Central. Penny's going to have to kick this, and it's probably about as good as they could have hoped for. But even so, Alatini is going to start West set from inside Central territory. And he's still going. And that's an absurd play, the ball, and I think they're going to give the penalty to West, but it was 50-50 there. I think Alatini knew the penalty might be forthcoming. But it's an opportunity. There's no thoughts of the two from 48 metres out. And so, probably for the first time today, it's Wests who can set up. And here comes Tafua. Pressure on Central here. Redmond and Herman. Well, that's the way it's going to be. They're going to send the big bodies at them. Redmond's looking flat for Finn here. And Finn out the back. And Redmond to Porter. To Brown, pardon me, out to Keenan. And Keenan's got Williams out here. It's one-on-one, but there's people slipping everywhere there. Bamblett lost his footing. Now Richardson down the short side. That was brave, but he might have got that down, Callan Richardson. Well, Aylett's going to have a decision to make here. He's going to say try. So Callan Richardson 1-on-3 there from dummy half. Just managed to bump off a couple and get the ball down. And as an absolute deluge takes over here, you might be able to hear that in our effects mic. The rain is now bucketing onto the roof of the grandstand just as that try went over. Obviously the Almighty is a Central fan and was none too pleased with that. But it's 4-0. West have the lead 12 and a half minutes into the game, and after having none of the field position so far, they get one opportunity and they score. And isn't it just like them? And so it'll be Sam Keenan who's going to take the kick at goal. I'd say there's better days to be a goal kicker. Isn't that a beautiful sound you can hear? Absolutely hosing down. Incredible that they've had 2 games between these two sides, and both of them have been in weather like this. As Keenan takes the kick, that doesn't look too bad. That's going over. That's a beauty from Sam Keenan. So Wests have a 6-0 lead. And the message for any farmers out there in Western New South Wales, if you're having a problem with the drought and you can't get a decent rain, get Central and West to come out and try and have a game of rugby league, because they're running at 2 from 2. And Dane Bamblett's going to get us underway. And that one's taken over there very neatly in the end by Alatini. Good piece of skill. And you do get the impression Wests have the professionalism and the management of the game to get around in these conditions. As Redmond goes across there, I think that's Steve Gordon bringing it forward. And Redmond now inside the Shillings. And it's a long ruck there. And finally Keenan sticks it on the boot. Takes an awkward skip there for Woodbury, but finally he comes forward. And now it's Penny, and Central can bring it out again. The crowd not quite into the game just yet. It's pretty full up here in the grandstand, bizarrely enough. There's a few dedicated supporters here. And you hope when on days like this, when people turn up, they get a good bit of a spectacle. But they need a bit of encouragement from their side, and that's not going to be it. That's a knock on there. It's Brad Calder over on the right-hand side. He's fumbled it in the play the ball, and Wests are going to get another chance here. They don't want to get into this habit. The linesman on this side, Dylan Clark, I think he's having some microphone problems over there. He's got the fiddling with cords or something. I understand the referees are mic'd up again after about 6 weeks of radio silence, which would be very helpful for them. You don't have any more refs having to come over the linesman and say what happened and all that. Very old-fashioned. As here's Brown, and West's on the attack with Keenan. And it's a beautiful sight, isn't it, the players kicking around on the ground like that. I don't know what difference it makes, but they love doing it. Here's Mannion. And Redmond's in at dummy half. Feeds it short to Shillings. Making good ground here, West. Great hands from Porter. And he held that up as long as he could, but it'll be a chance here on the counter for Central. Calder got the ball. And then Tafua got Calder. And here's Wilson. And he's the man they need. And he gets the ball away to Penny. That looked a little bit high, and I think referee Aylett's going to say so. Got him around the chops there with Jake Finn. So they'll have an opportunity to advance their position. And it's Cook who plunges this downfield. And away they come. That's Jarrett, who's played a bit in the second row, and he's a good-sized unit in the 4 today. And away they go. Is it Wilson? No, it's Brooks. And he's dumped into the ground. Big contact again there. Mackenzie away to Brown, who gets the dropsies. And they turn it over again. And Wests get away with their mistakes again there. And this is Keenan. He's having a bit of a chat to the linesman while on the ground. Now Richardson. Redmond, there's huge appeals to the referee here. Now they go to Finn. And I don't know why Finn would throw the dummy. He just barrels straight into them. It takes about 15 metres. He's been the player of the season in this competition so far. And a huge asset to the front row. Here's Gordon. And it's going to be Porter to put this to the air. And this will be awkward because there's a big chase. Big in numbers and big in size. And Mannion got down and clattered into Bamblett there. But I think Penny's recovered the position. Well done. Tim Penny. And they just get away with it now, Bamblett. And Woodbury, and they're using their backs well here. Woodbury's a good runner of the ball in his own half. And another penalty here. Just a bit too much work in the tackle. Either that or Tom Aylett's got a back cramp, not sure which. But on they come. And this is a mazy run here from Burnstrom. He's finally going to be knocked over. A fair way from where he got the ball. And that might start a roll for them, but I think the ball came out again there. It did. It did. It's another knock on. And if you've got someone, say someone from overseas or something who's watching rugby league for the first time, and this is your example that you're showing to them, maybe hold off until next week. Because I don't know that it's going to be the most attractive affair. Except possibly for a few of the purists up here in the tin shed. But we start again. And it's Porter, I think, there. That was Alatini, in fact, and now here's Mannion. They're keeping it simple. And away they go again. Here's Finn. Bang, into them they go. He spins out of it. I think they've forced the knock on there. That lifted the Central boys. That was a big hit right in the ribs from Don Murphy, who's on the field in what I think is a bit of a Jonathan Thurston headgear. And forced a mistake from the big unit. So again, West's not infallible with the ball. So here's Rowan Kelly. I'd imagine days like this make retirement look very attractive indeed. But on they go. Now Cook. Oh, big hit there from Matt Herman. And he spun away. Now it's Burnstrom. He's been a good addition for them. That's another good carry. And they're holding on in the tackle. Now McKenzie, straight up the middle. And he takes 15. Woodbury wants it on this left-hand side. He's going to get it too. Here's Brown. And Keenan's got to take it. He does it very well. And then comes through. And the turnstile slams shut on him. And now Brown comes up to Williams. It's a real scrap here, and it's a good place to watch it. This ground here at Central. Even at the back of the grandstand here, you're only about 10 metres from the play. So when they get on this side of the field, you can hear every hit. And Finn spreads it here to Porter. And Porter will say, gee, thanks for that. Cook came up and whacked him. And here's Brown. He sends it spinning to Penny, who took it on the full and did well. And he sets sail for halfway. And they're belting each other out there. And there's Calder on the other wing. A bit of a swinging arm in low there. from Redmond. So it's Kelly. 3 trainers on the field for Central at the moment, all shouting various types of encouragement as Burnstrom gets it away. That's good play. And that's Murphy in 11. Turns it inside, and that's a good ball. Into McKendry. They're using it well, Central. Last tackle again in good position. Mackenzie away. Murphy didn't want it on last. Brown will take it. He looked like he was setting for the one. It might be a bit ambitious, even in these conditions, to start going up in field goals. And Keenan took it well in the end. But just a little bit of disorganisation cost Central there. And so it's Richardson to bring it away. And as he does so often, he's past the first man. Linesman right in over the top of it. What is he doing? I don't know. But again, we love it. There he goes. You see him wandering in. We might not pick him up on our monitor, but he's getting in and sniffing the plate. Interventionist touch judging here at St John Oval. Now Brown, and a bit of a hospital ball again out there to Porter. I don't know what he did at training midweek, but his own players aren't doing him any favours. And finally it's Herman. He'll be looking for a kicking licence renewal after that one. That was very nice. Clean contact. And Penny, there's clean contact. Jake Finn, whack. Clout. And Penny's up, but he's a little bit sore. Here's Calder, who knows they need a bit more out of their backs, taking the pressure off the forwards. That's the second time he's turned up on the other side of the field. And now Murphy. Good carry again. Good hands from Mackenzie. Here they come. He likes those runs up the middle. He reckons they're tired. And Woodbury is screaming for the ball on the left wing. Penny away. Cook. And I'm not quite sure what that was. That was a very curious kick. I don't know what he was trying to do there, Ethan Cook, but I don't think it was that. So it's a 20 tap. I think he might have been trying to jag the kick back in field against the grain. And I think he just slipped a little bit and made poor contact. But now we have a false start. And Willis Alatini finally will get to bring this forward. That beautiful ambient sound in the background of rain belting against the roof of the grandstand here. I hope you're enjoying it on Bar TV. I hope it's not sending you to sleep. 25 minutes gone here. Western Suburbs 6, Central 0. Morgan Campbell with you for Bar TV. And it's Porter away here to Brown. And Brown away to Mannion. And Mannion got the fumbles. And Central are going to get another chance. It's another scrum. Who needs rugby union, eh? So the scrum eventually is going to pack down here. But you do think, I mean, Central do need to take one of these chances. They are getting enough ball in the right areas and they're competing through the middle. But they just have to take one. It's a similar type of game to about 2 months ago at Harker Oval. Mackenzie gives it away. This is Jarrett. And the runs are strong. Cook. And this is Burnstrom again, and he's an evasive customer out there. He's taking metres off them with every run. Now Kelly. And he doesn't worry about passing, he just belts it up. And he copped a hit for his trouble. But they're setting up to the left here. Woodbury again is calling for the ball. Now Murphy. You couldn't say Woodbury's not interested in playing. Every time the ball comes up here, he's screaming for it. Brown now. He might get a chance this time. That's off legs. They'll say 6 to go here. And so they can start again. Penny. And you can tell he's new on the field because that's a new jumper. And that's going to be a penalty for a head-high tackle. It's Matt Baker. He's a little bit crook as well. Now, Rowan Kelly seems to be indicating that Central are going to take the 2 here. Either that or he was giving someone the peace sign behind the goal post. Baker is going to need some treatment though. Let's see, there's a bit of concern for him out there. The rain just got heavier again. It's ebbing and flowing. 1 minute it's hosing down, then it's just raining very hard. Now, Warren Shillings is on report here. This is a new function in the Newcastle Rugby League this year. They put players on report now. So he'll have a meeting with the judiciary through the week. He'll have to buy a new suit. And it was a pretty solid hit and fairly high to the naked eye, so he might have a bit of a case to answer. But this could be a little bit of a stoppage here. Trainers in rugby league are very good now at all levels in not taking any risks with players who are hit high like that. And they won't do a thing until they're absolutely certain that he's all right. So he gets up to his feet, Matt Baker. I don't think he's going to continue. And the committee of trainers are going to take him off the field. So Matt Baker's afternoon could be a very short one. That was his first touch of the game. He came on in a fresh jumper and he's worn one very high there. And so he's straight back off again. There's 12 minutes left in the first half and Dane Bamblett's going to line this up to put Central on the board. There it goes again. Hammering down again here. Where else in the world would you rather be? Fantastic. Heaving down rain, Sunday afternoon. The ground's a mud heap. Up here in the tin shed, beautiful. So Bamblett's lining this up. Interesting decision to go for the points. I suppose Kelly's thinking is that they've had a few chances down here, haven't got anything out of it, so they may as well take a couple of points when they're on offer. And Bamblett sends it over and into the long grass behind the goalpost. So it's 6-2, Central are on the board, and as they did in round one, they're going up by 2s. Their 4 points in that game were 2 penalty goals, and they've got another penalty goal to start themselves off here. But that was a good passage of the game for them. They've been solid since the try, they just haven't taken their chances. But there's a little bit of encouragement out there. And away we go with that very awkward kick-off, which is going to head towards the touchline, and they did well to retrieve that, did Central. Now there's a bit of a push. Now there's a lot of a push. He's heading towards the touchline. It's not going to stand though. Referee Aylett says that that was illegal. I don't know if I agree with him. They pretty much had the momentum. As soon as they hit him, he was only going one way. There was no second effort. So West might be a little bit aggrieved there. It's not going to make a huge amount of difference. Cook's kick for touch wasn't overly ambitious. So on they come with Brooks. Now it's away to Murphy. That's a little bit high again there. That was Mannion that time. And it comes out. They're going to say another penalty. It's a strip. So Central getting a run of things here. And they're just going to tap and go again. Here's Kelly. And he always looks very mean when he cuts it up. And that wasn't a bad carry. Penny away now to Brown. Brown to McKendry. He's finding his way back in first grade. He had a great season with Cessnock 2 years ago. Went to Curry. Injured in the trial game. And didn't play for them again. He was out for the season and has moved to Central now. And it's a big inclusion for them. Now away to Penny. And Penny's gone straight through them. This is a big moment in the game. It's Tim Penny for Central. He gets the ball away to Mackenzie. And Central have scored next to the posts. They've taken a chance. And they're a little bit pleased with themselves too. It's Tom McKenzie who gets the try. And Central are about to be in front with 8.5 to go in the first half. And that was lovely play. They've worked that middle of the park out of dummy half a few times. It's mostly been McKenzie who's done the running. That time it was Penny. But McKenzie was clever enough to be there in support. And that got the crowd a little bit involved. Aylett having a bit of a chat here with Rowan Kelly. It's a long conference actually. And that's going to hold the show up because Bamblett hasn't got his kicking tee yet. But they have competed so far, Central. They've forced mistakes from West. They've hit hard in the forwards. They've carried the ball strongly. And they're entitled to be pretty pleased with themselves. So it's Bamblett to give Central the lead. It's there. And they have the lead. So the penalty goal decision from Rowan Kelly a few minutes ago doesn't look too bad now. Six minutes, 45 seconds left here. And they've done what they couldn't do in round one. They've scored a try. But for West, they've got to stop giving high penalties here. They're letting Central up the field quite easily. And that's Brett Jarrett. Chris Knight's on the field in a clean jumper in 18. He usually adds a bit of spark from dummy half. And that's Murphy. Now Brooks barreling into them. Hasn't come off. 34 minutes into the game. It's been a big stint from their starting front rower. Now they go away to Cook. And he's going to find the grass over there. That's an awkward kick for Keenan. He'll have to very gently pick it up like it's a hand grenade. And they've wrestled him to ground. And that's perfect wet weather play from Ethan Cook. Give them the ball where you want them to have it. And Richardson belted as well. Now Alatini. So the fullback and the two wingers taking the runs so far. Now Gordon. And Knight now will look for a front rower and he finds one. And it's Ryan Petro charging onto the ball, and in the end it was a good set. They're up to halfway. And Porter can do the same back to them. He puts this one into orbit. And Woodbury does well. And it's Woodbury up against a few here. He might fancy himself. He doesn't anymore because Richardson picked him up and dumped him. There's an appeal for a spear tackle. Woodbury's slow to his feet. I don't think there was too much in it. It was a good old-fashioned tackle, really. But plenty of momentum behind it. Now they come on with McKendry. And Rowan Kelly's lining up for another run. Here he comes. Bang into Mannion. It's warfare out there now. Murphy, another good collision. They can hear that up here. There were a few winces in the grandstand when those two came together. And Brown will kick this long and finds the grass again and forces the caution from Keenan and gives it to Alatini. And they deal with him strongly. 4 minutes until half time here. It's Central 8, West's 6. And Richardson will play it to Keenan. They've got a little bit of a roll on here, West, as Petro barrels into them again. Big contact up high. Now Knight, and that's what I said about Spark down the middle, and he's forced a penalty here. It's a high tackle. He just got scampering out of the dummy half position there and forced someone to throw an arm out. Now, what are they going to do here? Does someone fancy themselves from 40 out? No. Keenan dabs it into touch. Woodbury thought about jumping for it and thought better of it. Big opportunity here for West. It would be so like them with 3 minutes to go to half time. Central need to hang in. Here's Knight. Looking for Petro, finds Brown. Brown away to Williams. Williams still going. It'll be hard to stop from there. Simon Williams, he gets it down. They couldn't stop him from there. 4 or 5 of them had to go. But Simon Williams gets the try. And Wests are back in front. Quicker than you could say. Geez, Wests always score before half time. And I'd imagine there will be some serious recriminations behind the goal there. It's the second time that one of the West outside backs on that right-hand side have bumped off a few one-on-one tackles and gone through. And that's not the way it's supposed to go. And now it's Jade Porter who's having a confab with Tom Aylett. But Keenan has a chance to extend the lead here. And we sort of feel like all the good work Central have done doesn't quite seem like much if they're going to go in 4 points behind. So Keenan, and that one's gone around the back. Not quite enough hook on it. So 90 seconds left in this first half. It's a good contest. It's keenly fought. And it's West 10-8. So Bamblett gets us underway and fires this kick down, and there's some lovely footwork there from, I think, Ryan Petro. Oh, in fact, it's Matt Herman out there. He must have been watching the Euros overnight, because that was a lovely traditional trap, and then he picked it up, and now here's Petro. And he sent Cook spearing out of that tackle. And now they've got a little roll on here. It's Shillings. 40 seconds left. And it's a penalty for a strip. They might get a couple of tackles in good field position here, West. 30 seconds left. The Central players giving that famous call, 1 set. Well, it's not even going to be that. It's going to be about half a set. But time enough. Knight has it. Now Porter, look at them coming. There's 6 of them all running onto the ball. It's Keenan. And Keenan went through a gap there. And now the ball comes out to Bamblett. And that might be it for the first half. I think it will be. It is. As the siren goes. Or the air horn goes. And it's all over. And you can see which players are the coldest and the wettest, because they're the ones who are charging off the field to the showers. But that's half time here at St John Oval. Central fought very hard in that first half. They bashed and battered away at Wests. They finally got a try just before the break. But even closer to the break, West hit them back in typical style. And so they lead it at half time, 10-8. We'll be back here in a few moments with the second half on Bar TV.
Real guys, real sport. Bar TV.
Well, welcome back to St John Oval. Second half about to kick off here between Central and Wests. And after an interesting first half, I suspect Central might just feel that the door is ajar here to pull off a bit of an upset. As it's them that gets the game underway, kicking it down to Wests, and they bring it back now with Petro. Callan Richardson and Simon Williams with the tries for Wests. Tom McKenzie for Central. And it's Shillings now bringing it forward. Heaving down with rain here. Most of the crowd sensibly confining themselves to the grandstand. There's a few stragglers out around the fence. There's a couple of gents under a light pole over there, just two of them, about 50 metres from anybody else, with one umbrella each. Yeah, you can see them now, just in our picture. As forward comes Central, and that's Brad Calder in the 5 who brought it forward, and he's a bit sore after doing so. Now Bamblett. So far as I can tell, I think Ethan Cook is playing either half or 5/8 at the moment, and they've got an extra forward out there. Bamblett's out in the centres. Danny Kerr was named at halfback, but he's not playing there. He's not in the side at all today. So here's Rowan Kelly. That's a good carry. Got the legs going there. And they're down that left-hand side with Brown. And Keenan, who's been very safe at the back. Hasn't made a mistake yet. In fact, both fullbacks have been very good so far. They've been set plenty of challenges. Here's Gordon. Steve Gordon with the compression garment on underneath here. He must be feeling the cold. He's got the long sleeves on. A bit like Chase Blair at the Melbourne Storm, as there's a turnover. So an early chance here for Central, and we saw plenty of this in the first half. But Kelly got whacked after he fell on that ball, I think, and he's still down. He's just going back into place now. But this is an opportunity. And it's Bamblett at dummy half. Here's Brown. Now Murphy. And Mackenzie's having a look here. He looked at Brooks and he thought better of it. He went to Cook, and Cook's going to go himself. He's pushed back. Resolute defence here so far, but they're in a good spot. Short side to Penny. Out there to Jarrett. Jarrett's gone past a couple here. Brad Jarrett for Central. He's not far away. He's not far away at all. Now they're going to go again. It's Penny on the toe. There's a challenge here for Clackety, but it's taken there by Alatini, who sent a tsunami over the dead ball line. And that's clever football. Wests will have to kick it out from under their own posts. As you can hear, the rain's a lot more quiet in this second half. It was hosing down earlier. But they've only got the mud and the surface water to contend with now, as here's Brooks. And he charges into them. That's a good run. Still on the field, Cody Brooks, 44 minutes straight. Now Kelly. And again, the contact is fierce. That's a very slow play, the ball. Aylett taking an interest there. Not deciding to do anything about it. Here's Brown out the back to Penny. And Penny feeds the ball out there to Woodbury, who's got some space to run into Joe Woodbury, but the ball came out. And Wests recover. But again, they were willing to use the wings. And we've seen that a bit. And now the armada of trainers come onto the field. There's 4 on there at the moment. One of the more thankless tasks on this sort of day being a trainer, goodness me. I mean, you don't even have the opportunity to get warm by running around. Run onto the field, get wet, go back to the sideline, stand in the cold, go back out, you know. So it's Gordon one out from the scrum. As soon as I announced the demise of the rain, it started up again. They're coming forward fairly simply so far. This is Shillings. And now Knight, who's been very sharp since he came on. I've said a few times this year, I think he was unlucky that Chad Redmond was signed by West because he deserves to be a first grader for 80 minutes. But the kick goes down now to Calder, who forgivably slips over. He managed to make a bit of ground with that run though, and there's a second effort there from Gordon, who had a long hold on his leg there. And now Penny. And they've managed to slow down whatever momentum might have been forthcoming there. Now they have a penalty though. Do Central. Just offside. And the discipline wasn't ideal from West in that first half. The penalty count, oh dear. Well, Joel Brown, Riley Brown, pardon me, I think he might have just taken the tap there. That kick, I think, went about 5 inches forward. But they do have a fresh set. Here's Kelly, who's shaken off the effects of that contact a few minutes ago. Cody Brooks. Cook. We know he's got a bit of guile, Ethan Cook. Hasn't quite been able to crack them open yet. Here's Penny. And Jarrett. Another strong run from Jarrett. Easy to spot in that headgear. Now they go away to Cook. And this might just pitch in the infield. It does. Just in the field of play. Less than a metre. And it ends up being a pretty nice kick, as West will have to bring it away from a couple of metres out from their own line. And so far in this game, when sides have done it that way, they've tended to prosper. So it's Knight from the base of the scrum trying something on. And they're slowly up again. It's solid contact there again from Rowan Kelly. Now they go away. And that's Shillings, and that's more than solid contact. I think that might have been illegal. Referee says it was all right. It certainly lifted the crowd on the, well, I say the crowd, the 15 people on the other side of the ground. Very impressed with that hit from Dom Murphy. And they're up quickly again. And that was Kelly hurling himself into it. Obviously the call's gone out for Central's forwards to lift here. And so Knight finally kicks it away. If only to stop these big units flying at them. And the field position is good for Central. Bamblett. And Woodbury. Juggled that and held it. Now they come away to Brown. Long ball out there to Jarrett, who again was pretty decent on his feet there. But he'll be slow to get up. And it's a fat 10 observed by Tom Aylett. Now Cook. And he's just carrying them with him, and it's another penalty. Mark is not square that time, he's saying. Jade Porter's incredulous about that one. And the West players might just be looking for a spell here. There was a fair bit of soccer there as they just knocked the ball away, slowed it all down. Gave themselves some time to start again. So maybe they're feeling it a little bit out there. Mackenzie belts this into touch. Riley Brown's been relieved of the touch-finding duties, which is probably fair enough. And on they come. And there's another new man on the field. And welcome to the match, Brendan Menzies. Absolutely clouted there. Now Wilson. They've used the bench here. Central. Just 10 minutes into this second half. And he's finally dragged down. Now Mackenzie. Cook. And that ball's coming out there. It might have gone backwards. They're going to say it did. And it's only that Knight fell on it that West will recover the ball. But now they're not going to recover the ball because it was knocked on. And Central are going to get a scrum 10 out. Full set of 6. What have you got? Even with half an hour to go, I think we can say they won't get a better chance than this. So Cook feeds it. And the big spiral pass out there to Brown. Now Penny, who's been very lively today. He took a bit of punishment there. Now it's inside to Wilson. Wilson's still thinking about throwing this. He has done now, but they're going to say penalty, and I reckon we're about to be all square. If they took the 2 in the first half at 6-0, I'd reckon they'll take it in the second half at 10-8. I'm just trying to spot Rowan Kelly. I don't think he's out there at the moment. I think he's just gone off. But the word's obviously got out there. So Dane Bamblett's going to have the chance to square this game up. With just under half an hour to go here. Central competing at the Bermuda Triangle. And this is one of the longer lead-ins to a kick I've seen. Nobody seemed in too much of a hurry there. Everybody have a chat. A couple of Scotch fingers, cup of tea. And finally, Bamblett's teeing up the ball. So here he comes. And he fires at home, so it's 10-all. Central 10, Western Suburbs 10, 27 and a half minutes to go here. And it's just going to be one of those games where the side that can hang on to it will probably get home. Greg Ryan just gently pitter-pattering down the touchline here. He's got the pink towel to match his uniform, which is very fetching. I'd imagine it's getting quite a good bit of work out today. This is the day to be carrying a towel out the front of your trousers. And away we go. And that's a very awkward kickoff, but it's going to end up all right for Ethan Cook. He takes it well. And this is Wilson. And even with the couple of carries he's had. Oh dear, oh dear. That's a bad one from Jerome Wilson. Just perhaps trying to play it a little bit too quickly. And so West now are given another chance. I mean, they haven't been up here that often, and when they have got up here, they've tended to score. And this is another great chance for them. It's Williams with it. That's been the side they've gone to. The 2 tries were basically one-on-one runs where they just kept bumping and turning until they got the ball down. Here's the 15 on the field, Jermaine Ale. Very easy to spot the substitutes today. Now Brown and Mannion, and Mannion's not far away. Even further when he finishes crabbing forward. Knight out the back to Brown. Back to Ale. Second carry. They set up very deep to the left here. You can see them. Alatini hugging the touchline. As here's Brown. He was collected after he threw it. There'll be a bit of an inquiry into that, I'd reckon. But now here's the ball back inside to Keenan. He's taken. They're set out to the left here. And to the right. It's Porter to the left. It's Brown to the right, and he gets it. Puts it on the toe. And it's fumbled there, and that might be a try. It is. And it's one of the softer tries Simon Williams will score. He simply had to put his hand on the ball, and that was that. And I think it's Bamblett over there who came sliding in like he was completing a home run. And he just got the fumbles at the worst possible time. And my sincere apologies to the Central Club for saying a few minutes ago that the fullbacks and the outside backs have been very good looking after the kicks. As that's the first error we've seen. And it's a bad one. And the Wests have the lead. 14 points to 10 here. 25 minutes to go. And Keenan can line up the kick. So Keenan, probably the easiest one he's had so far. And it's there. So the lead's out to 6. And the Central players, authors of their own demise there. It was the knock-on from Wilson coming off their own line, and then the fumble from Bamblett in the in-goal. And West didn't have to do too much there. Just put it in the in-goal and hope for something to happen. So away we go again. That's a heavy kick-off. It's too heavy. It's fumbled by Alatini. Straight off the kick-off and straight through his jumper. Well, well, well. There you go, Central. What can you do? It'll be Keenan to kick it out. And that's an awkward one. That might go into touch. It has. Oh, dear. What is happening out there? A drop off the kickoff. And then a drop out into touch. And as soon as West had turned it over, they've got it back. And, well, they've done pretty well out of that transaction by getting it back 30 metres in advance of where they were. But surely the outside players for Central had to be aware that if they let a kick bounce like that, that sort of thing could happen. And you've got to give marks to Sam Keenan for being clever enough to try it. And that might be a fumble though. Well, dear oh dear. We could have an exodus here. If this is the way it's going to be for the last 22 minutes, I might be the only one left at the ground by full time. Just to clarify, we've had mistake, try, mistake, mistake, mistake in the last 3 minutes of football. It's a beautiful game, rugby league. So Bamblett with it. Somebody to do something. Mackenzie away to Murphy. Oh dear, there goes Superman Herman. He came flying through there, and now it's been turned over by Murphy. Well. What's the going rate for, how much is it going to cost the Central Club to give out refunds here? Goodness me. Can somebody complete a set? Let's see. Here's Knight. And he goes for a run. He's been one of the best on the field today, Chris Knight. The moment he came on, West have lifted. Keenan away. And that's Petro. And he's fighting very vigorously with them there. He's still trying to scrap with Don Murphy at marker. Now it's Ale. Knight's in there again. And that's the 16. Mark Farrer, who went sliding towards halfway. Porter. And Herman. And Keenan. Out the back there to Porter, who's in a bit of a cul-de-sac as he tries to kick that. And Penny has it for Central. But it's a good, strong, solid line to meet him, and they put him to ground. Now Woodbury. A lot of chat in the West line. They're trying to keep that energy high. There's a change being made on the sideline here. Rowan Kelly is coming back on. And so too is Sam Bernstrom in 18, who was very good in his first stint on the field. And now they come with Cook. And Cook throwing a few dummies, losing the ball. And Wests are going to get it back again. It's descending. And there's still 19 minutes to go here. It's West's 16, Central 10 on Bar TV. Oh dear, It's come straight off the chest of Jermaine Ale, and so Central will get it back. Oh, this really is going to be a lottery now. This is going to be a complete lottery as to who can hold on to the ball up the right end of the field. The one thing I will say is that anyone can win this game, because the changeovers are happening very quickly indeed. Now Wilson. There was a complaint about the pass, but they're advancing suddenly. Short side run, and this is the 14 out there. That's Brendan Menzies with his second involvement, and he made good ground. Penny again, and he threw a few dummies and then lost his footing. They're set out to the right. They go that way with Wilson. He'll take it on himself, and he only has to fall over inside the West half and he'll probably score. It's on the foot from Menzies. It's down there. It's taken by Simon Williams, I think. It's forced to drop out. And again, that's smart play. But they'll have to be a little bit more aware off the dropout. Well, they've tried it again. The contact wasn't quite as good there, but Jarrett finally reaches down and picks it up. And bang, in he goes. Beautiful sound. And Cook starts them going. Here's Wilson, whose minutes are short, but work rate is high. And they go here to Kelly. And he's put on his back. But he's been toiling away in the middle there, Rowan Kelly. Now they go over there to Brown. Brown, good ball again. And that's lovely play all of a sudden. It's Bamblett out there. And he's going to be driven towards touch and towards the practice field. But finally they put him on the ground. Onward they go. Brown didn't have many options there. Now he does. And it's Ethan Cook, who seems to be playing a bit more like a forward in this second half. And they're going to say he's lost this, are they? What's going to happen here? Yes, it's a knock on. It's another West ball. Central are getting their chances. But as yet, they haven't taken enough of them. 16 minutes left here. Morgan Campbell with you for Bar TV. In the last game of round 9, there's a full suite of games on again next week. including, and this is very exciting, a maiden trip for the Newcastle Rugby League to Coronation Oval, which, if my memory serves me correctly from the under-10s, is a ground as hard as a rock with a cemetery at the entrance. So that should give you some idea of what's facing Curry next week when they go there. The other games, Central and Cessnock and Central up at Cessnock next week. Macquarie and Wests at Peacock Field, and South Newcastle and Lakes at Carl Oval. So there's a few tasty games there in round 10, and of course we've still got round 8 to play in a few weeks as well. Of course, it's a 16-week season this year, so today marks the halfway mark. Everyone will have played 8. And now it's Keenan, and he drills this down. And Penny picks it up delicately and gives it away to Woodbury. And by coming back in field, he found the company of Jake Finn and Mark Tafua, which is unpleasant for anyone, I'd reckon. On they go. Oh, it's a big collision again. That was Dale Clackety in the 3 for Central. Now Wilson. And he's taking them with him. He's still thinking about the offload, which is brave. He does dump it out the back. Now Kelly. And this might be a bit of an error here because it's going to be kicked ahead. I think that's Mark Farah. No, it's Simon Williams, and that means big problems because he's got a bit of pace and he's going to score. And the offload from Jerome Wilson was inadvisable, to say the least. And the toe ahead from Williams and the pickup from Williams were clean. Central West kick out to a 10-point lead, and they'll be fairly difficult to run down from here. But again, you'd have to say Central making their own problems there. Now we have a very unusual spectacle happening out there. I'm not sure if our cameraman can pick this up. We've just had referee Tom Aylett doing lunges on the 30-metre line. I suppose referees need to stay limber as well, but it's an unusual sight. But in any event, referee calisthenics notwithstanding, Keenan has a kick here to put the lead out to 12. So it's Keenan. And he puts it over. I reckon if he hadn't have done, he would have got another go because the Central players came rushing at him as he kicked it and were well over the try line. But with 12 and a half minutes to go here, it's West's 22, Central 10. And they've just been a little bit more professional when they've come down that end of the field. They've taken their chances better. And they leave Central now with, if not Everest to climb, then maybe K2. And here's Finn. Now Alatini. Tafua. And he's still scrapping with them and rolling forward. Plenty of chat from Penny at the back now. There's a bit of an appeal and a knock on. They're not too pleased about that either. The West players, they think there was some foul play in there. But they offer Central another go at them. .11 and a half minutes to go. No great urgency to pack for the scrum here for Central, it must be said. We've got a bit of a crash up here in the grandstand today. Bit of racket being made. Now there's a kick ahead, and this is a roll of the dice here. Woodbury's coming quickly. Woodbury toes it ahead, but then it's hoofed over the dead ball line by Callan Richardson. It'll be a dropout. But that was a clever bit of play. They're at the stage in the game. They probably need to try that sort of thing. And it very nearly came off, and it wasn't a disaster because they're going to get the ball back. And West will take their time about it. Oddly enough, that's about the 4th dropout they've had to make today, which gives you an idea of the chances Central have had. Now, Rowan Kelly's, I know he plays cricket in the off-season. He needs, I don't know if he's a slips fieldsman, but he was set a tall order there. That was probably actually more like a drive through cover point. And now there's an injury for the fellow who ended up falling on it, Dale Clackety, who's been somewhat in the wars the last few minutes. Aylett showing appropriate concern. And on we go. Time still ticking. 10 minutes to go. And it's Wilson. Now Kelly. And it was Finn who got him around the legs. There's a lot of chat out there from the West players. They're trying to get themselves home now. Brown going himself. He went belting into, I think, Peter Mannion out there. Big collision. Now it's Penny and Wilson might throw another offload. I'd say he might be best to give that away. Now Burnstrom and Penny, and a long ball out there to Clackety, and Central are going to score. Hope springs eternal. They're over in the corner. It's Dale Clackety's try. And I take back everything I said about Jerome Wilson and the offload, because that one went all right. And it's 22-14 with a kick of great importance to come and another 9 minutes of play. And for Dame Bamblett, this is a challenge. He's about 3 metres in from touch, and if he kicks it, Central will remain a chance. He's just got an encouraging palm across the face from Mark Tafua. Very charming. So it's Bamblett. There's no great breeze to worry about, but it's a pretty awkward angle. The non-favoured side for the right footer, as the cliche says. Here he comes. Doesn't look too bad. Oh, no. It's just faded away. Just faded away. But there's chat. There's chat from the Central players. Head up is the call. There's 8 minutes. They need 2 scores now. But they have competed today. Just had a very strange call there from the West players. Maggot set. I'm not quite sure what that means, but I like it. It strikes fear into the opposition at the very least, because it doesn't sound pleasant, does it? And away we go. It's Keenan who sends this one down to Cook. That's a tough catch, but he finds Wilson, whose offloads have created 1 try at the central end of the field and 1 try at the west end of the field. So I guess we call that about square. Now it's Burnstrom. It's getting very, very dark here. The floodlights are on, but they're not the most powerful. So it's getting a little bit gloomy, a bit tough to see who's who. As Cook goes away. He's been very involved today, Ethan Cook. Now Mackenzie, off to Penny, who's got a bit of a spark in him, and he throws a big rainbow over the top to Woodbury. That's not bad, and it's still Woodbury for Central. They're taking a few risks, chasing the game. Now it's Brown. That ball's fizzing towards Porter, who does well, and then has enough presence of mind to throw it inside to Keenan, and Keenan's away. here for West, and he steps past a couple. It's Keenan against Calder and against Clackety, and now against the sideline, and finally Calder takes him down at the second time of asking. Jerome Wilson's hobbling back into screen, as you can see. He's looking a bit sore, so he might need to come off, although they might not have any changes left as Alatini goes down. West can throw an uppercut here. That's Ale. And Redmond back on the field finds Brown, who finds the ball again from Mannion. And now here's Williams, who'd have to be acclaimed for man of the match today. 2 tries in the wet conditions. Porter over to Tafua. Good ball to Shillings. This might do it. It's Shillings who ends up going himself, and he's going to get it down next to the posts. Warren Shillings scores and sorts out the result for today. It's 26-14 with a kick to come. They won't be caught now. Although it's harder, and it's been harder than it probably should have been. West are going to end the 2-match losing streak. They're going to get themselves 2 points and stay with Lakes at the top of the table. And on the balance, you'd have to say they deserved it, because they've been a little bit smarter and they've made their mistakes, if you can say this, at the right times of the game. Jerome Wilson is coming off now. He's just around the back. He looked very sore. So he'll be a case for the medics through the week. There's 4 minutes left here, and Keenan's about to put this gap out to 14, which is, although the result might be fair on both these sides, I think this sort of scoreline's a little bit unfair on Central. As the kick goes over. For the latter, this will mean that Lakes are on top on 12, just on points difference ahead of West's on 12. Macquarie, with their win yesterday, are on 11. Oh, as that one might go dead. Is it on the full? It is. It was a very hefty clout off the kickoff. And now they're going to say it wasn't on the full. It's going to be a dropout. So Lakes 12, West's 12, Macquarie 11, South 10, Cessnock 8, Curry 5, Maitland 3, and Central 3. That's the ladder going into round 10 next week, and with round 8 still to play. So on we go, and that's taken over there by Calder. And a try for Central here would probably make the scoreline a little bit more reflective. They've competed all the way here. There was only a couple of mistakes at the wrong times in that last 20 minutes that have cost them their chance. And you've got to remember, with 25 to go, it was 10-all. As Brooks plays it. Now Brown, and a good ball out there to Bamblett. And they go over to the left here. There's a kick through from Brown early in the count, which Keenan's going to field. He's been very good today at fullback, Sam Keenan. He's been pretty steady with the boot as well. He's only just come into first grade, but he can be very pleased with himself and with his contribution so far. One game at half-back and a couple at fullback, and there's a knock on now over in that corner with 100 seconds left. And all of a sudden now, with the game completely beyond doubt, Central are rushing to pack the scrum. As the crowd starts to amble out of the ground, there'll be a few people looking for a hot shower, I'd reckon, on the field and off. 1:22 to go. As the scrum's fed, and here's Cook. And Cook, he's thrown about 17 dummies there, and then he gets it away to Penny, and Penny throws a beauty of a pass over to Brad Calder, who's going to finish the game with a try. And I've got to tell you, that's about the best passage of play we've seen in this game so far. That was beautiful. And now they're rushing back. I don't know if they're looking for an 8-point try on the bell here. But that was a lovely bit of play. Penny charged onto the ball, threw the big loop pass over to Bamblett. And Central get another try. I reckon if you'd have told them at the start of the game you're going to score 3 times against this West team in this weather, you'd think, I reckon we'll take that. You'd fancy yourself to win. And in the end, it's only been that fumble in the in-goal. And then the offload toe to head that's cost them as the kick goes across the face. So even the 8-pointer won't get them home from here. 30 seconds left. And West won't hurry about taking this kick-off. I think Aylett will make them take it. Of course, next week as well on Bar TV, we've got the Country Championship final. It's happening at 12 o'clock on Saturday from Camden, of all places. And the players have declared a truce here. So they're not even going to bother to take the kick-off. They're just going to start shaking hands. The horn goes in the background. And that's about it for today. It's West's 28, Central 18. A good contest. Central were in it for most of the game. But as I've said a couple of times, just a couple of mistakes in the wrong part of the field at the wrong moment in the game have ended up costing them. They can be pretty proud with themselves with how they've competed, though. It's been a real scrap in the mud here at St John Oval. The groundsman will have the problem of trying to get this field in any sort of condition for a game in a couple of weeks. It's Morgan Campbell signing off from Bar TV. Until next week, it's West 28, Central 18.